The vertical jump is a demonstration of absolute raw power. So many different sports utilize it as a measuring stick of how much ability someone has. We see this from the NBA, football, even into hockey. The vertical jump is a big deal. Welcome everybody, I'm Dr. Sam Spinelli, physical therapist with Citizen Athletics, and today we're going to be talking about the vertical jump. This is a part of a series that we're going to be doing on the vertical jump. In this first installment, we're going to be tackling some exercises that you can utilize in the gym to help maximize your ability to increase your vertical jump. This is going to focus on the strengthening exercises today, and we're going to be going through a few different lower body based movements that you can use to help increase your vertical jump. In particular, we're going to go through 4 different movements that are going to help you for different reasons. We're going to break down what these movements are, how to perform them, and why they're really beneficial for the vertical jump. Now, if you'd like a program that takes care of this for you, puts all these movements together, plus all the jumping exercises, and combines into one nice, neat package, check out the link in the description box below for the programs that we offer. We just released the first phase of a brand new program aimed towards the vertical jump in our training support. So you can find that in the link below. As well, make sure you like this video down below, it helps us out a lot, and subscribe if you want to see the rest of the series on vertical jump. So today we're going to be going through 4 different movements, the first of which is the front squat. The front squat is a fantastic exercise to help strengthen the thighs, particularly the anterior thighs, also known as the quads. When it comes to vertical jumping, the quads are extremely important. So making sure to develop them maximally is going to be highly beneficial. And one of our best ways to do this is with a front-loaded squat, such as the front squat, or alternatively, if you don't have access to a barbell, a goblet squat. When we perform a front-loaded squat, such as a front squat or goblet squat, we'll typically end up having a more upright torso, which will allow us to have our knees travel more horizontally, which is going to encourage more loading of the thighs. In contrast, when we do more back squat style movements, it's common to see individuals shift their hips really far back and load up their glutes and hamstrings more. This isn't bad, but given that we're trying to really maximize the vertical jump and we're going to have a spectrum of different movements, we're going to pick the front loaded versions because it's going to allow us to maximize quad usage. Now, when we're performing a front loaded squat, there's a few key things we want to make sure that we do. Number 1, we keep our foot flat on the ground. We don't want our heels lifting up, and so it's a key thing to watch for as you do this. The second thing that we're going to watch for is sinking down and letting our knees go forward. Again, we're really emphasizing having our knees travel forward because we want to maximize utilizing our quads. So let that knee travel forward as you feel comfortable. If you find it's bothersome, check that your heels are still on the ground and adjust as you need to. We're going to try to sink down as low as you comfortably can. Most of the time, the more range we can utilize, the better. There's time and place to utilize a shorter depth squat, but as a general, using a full range is going to help to maximize muscle growth, which we can transfer into stronger muscles and more powerful muscles. There's a few different ways that you can hold the front rack for a front squat, and we're not going to be going into depth on this, but you can utilize your hands crossed, utilize some straps, or you can use your hands in a clean grip style. If you're new to this, you might find that the best option is to put some straps on the bar and just secure it that way, or a cross grip instead of trying to figure out the front rack style. And that way you can just get into the movement and start loading up your legs. You're going to want to perform this movement for roughly 3 to 10 repetitions, sticking with usually an RPE somewhere between 7 and 9, meaning you have approximately between 1 and 3 reps left in the tank. That way you can optimize your technique, making sure that you're doing the movement the right way to load up the muscles that we're aiming for. And then you can also emphasize going through more range before you start adding more weight. Over time, you can progressively add more weight, or you can try to do more reps with the weight that you have. Again, if you don't have access to a barbell, a goblet squat is a great alternative, and you can do this with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. It's a very simple movement where we can just set up, hold a dumbbell to our chest or a kettlebell, and then try to sink down as low as we can, utilizing the same technique as the front squat. If you're new to training, a goblet squat is a great alternative as well because there's less technical components. That way you're not worrying about trying to hold the barbell the right way or anything like that. You can just grab a dumbbell and go. As well, most of the time we have weight available to us in dumbbells or kettlebells. It goes up to somewhere between 70 and 100 pounds. And therefore, if you don't need to go past that weight yet, you don't necessarily need to do a front squat. Our second movement is going to be a transition to the hinge category, where now we're going to be emphasizing moving through the hips and minimizing the knees. We're a big fan of the Romanian style deadlift, and this can be done with a barbell or with dumbbells. The mechanics are relatively the same between both the barbell and dumbbell option. You'll have either a barbell or dumbbells in your hands, and then you'll be shifting your hips back, trying to emphasize moving through your hips as much as possible, minimizing the motion at your back and your knees. We'll have a small amount of knee bend, and the biggest thing that we're going to be focusing on is having those hips shoot back. That way we can load up those glutes and hamstrings. You come down as far as you're comfortable. For some people, this is going to be the top of the knee. For others, you'll be able to go further down, maybe come to mid-shin. You can work over time trying to get through a deeper range as you become more proficient with the movement. Don't try to rush it. Work with what you're comfortable with for now and progress over time. There's a few additional key points you want to consider while performing these movements. Number one, keeping the bar or dumbbell close. It's really common that people let that bar or dumbbell shift away, and instead we want to try to utilize our lats and keep it close. As we keep the bar or dumbbell closer, it's going to emphasize loading our glutes and hamstrings more and less our back. The second key thing that we want to watch for is foot pressure. As we're doing this, sometimes you'll see individuals shift really hard back to the point where their toes lift off the ground. We again want to try and maintain that flat foot position. That way we're practicing pushing through the floor as a whole. That way we have as much transfer as possible to the movement. All right, so now our third movement is going to be a transition away from bilateral exercises and going to a semi-unilateral movement. We're going to do the rear foot elevated split squat or Bulgarian split squat. We're going to be standing with a bench behind us. From here, we're going to take a step out. The exact distance you step is going to vary depending upon a few different factors. To start off with, you're just going to take a moderate sized step, and then you can adjust it as you find out what feels best for you. So we'll take that step, we're going to take the other leg, place it out behind us so that our laces point down, and then from here we're going to go through a squat. As we do this, a few things that you can try to consider. Number one, we want to allow that front knee to travel forwards, while also keeping that front foot flat on the ground, having similar mechanics from that standpoint as the front squat. The other thing that you can play around with is your torso angle. For some people, having a slight forward lean is going to be more beneficial, whereas others might find staying upright is more comfortable. There's no one single right way. You can play around and find what feels best for you. We like to utilize dumbbells in this, as it's going to be something that you can adjust your hands in space in case you have any issues with balance, and allows it to be loaded up very well. Most of the time people can do it with either one or two dumbbells. If you do it with one, we recommend having it in the hand of the leg that's on the bench behind you. You can try to go through a nice deep range of motion and emphasize loading up that front leg. That's where that forward lean usually helps a bit. If you stay really upright, most of the time you'll start to emphasize that back leg a little bit more, and instead we're going to try to really focus on the front leg. What's great about this is that when we do a bilateral base movement, we can sometimes be limited by the strength of our back. In contrast, when we perform a unilateral based movement, we're able to load the legs more because the back is rarely going to be the limiting factor. Something that we particularly like about this exercise is that it's a semi-unilateral exercise, and you get the additional balance from that rear foot. If you were to perform a straight up single leg squat, balance and just the general control is often going to limit individuals from how much they can load it. So this is a great in-between. Our fourth and final movement is going to be the calf raise. I can remember back when I played basketball in high school, and my team and I would always do calf raises at the end of practice to try to get closer to getting a dunk. In reality, it wasn't very smart. There were definitely other options that we could have done that would have brought superior results, such as the three movements that we just showed before this. The calf still helps with vertical force production, and so it's something that we don't want to neglect. The thing is that we want to prioritize the other movements because they're going to have a greater return on investment. Our best option to train the calf in relation to vertical jumping is going to be the good old calf raise. The variation that we picked is the deficit double leg calf raise with a slow tempo down. The reason we picked this variation is that it's going to be helping to emphasize control, working through a nice deep range, helping to improve the mobility of the ankles, while also strengthening the calf And doing it on a double leg reduces the balance issue that many will struggle with in the initial stages of training. Over time, you can work to taking away a foot and go to the single leg version. In addition, you can always load this up with a weight vest, with dumbbells, anything that you want. The goal here though is just to work on initially strength training those calves in an intelligent manner and progressing them over time. As you do this, we want to really make sure that we utilize full range of motion. In particular, going up and getting into the highest position that we can using our ankles. Focus on keeping your knee straight as you do this. It's common for people to come down, bend their knees a little bit, and then as they go up, straighten their legs. This utilizes your quads to help you, and instead we want to really focus on the calves and not compensate around them. So to summarize, those 4 exercises that we picked are the front-loaded squat, the hinge, primarily the RDL, the Bulgarian or rear foot elevated split squat, and the calf raise, specifically the double leg deficit calf raise. And again, if you want a program that puts all this together for you, check out the link down below. We made a fantastic vertical jump program and just released the first phase. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.